Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night-night guy.
Yeah.
Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again,
this is a proper. I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it? No.
Joe Rogan has issued a serious warning about Jake Paul even thinking about stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua. Rogan explains that Joshua isn't just another contender. He's an Olympic gold medalist and one of the most devastating punchers of this generation. In Rogan's view, Joshua wouldn't treat the matchup lightly. He'd use the opportunity to send a message, shutting down the idea that rising influencers can casually call out world-class champions for a payday. Rogan believes the gap in skill, experience, and raw power is so massive that the outcome could be dangerously one-sided, and Jake Paul might end up paying the price in a brutal way.
If he beat Anthony Joshua, good Lord. I mean, that's a big if, right?
I mean,
Anthony Joshua,
I do not think.
Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yeah, I just think it's all about the promotion or whatever. I have no idea what the actual motivation is for that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch.
Wade Plemons, the voice behind the Wade Concept podcast, delivered a serious warning for Jake Paul. Stepping in with Anthony Joshua isn't just bold, it's physically dangerous. Plemons highlights the sheer size gap alone. Jake usually weighs in around 90 kilograms, while Joshua competes near 111 kilograms. That difference translates into a massive advantage in power, durability, and overall impact. He explains that calling out fighters for entertainment is one thing, but standing across from an elite heavyweight with Olympic credentials is an entirely different world. And Joshua isn't just any heavyweight. He's an Olympic gold medalist, a proven champion with years of top-level experience. Plemons argues that if Joshua were to knock out Jake, the consequences might go far beyond a simple loss. In his eyes, this wouldn't be a routine mismatch. It could be a moment that changes the course of Jake's life. He believes Jake's chase for big money bouts is clouding his judgment, blinding him to the very real danger he's stepping toward.
in making this fight, one, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Boxing Kingdom posted on X that negotiations are underway for a fully sanctioned professional fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. According to their report, This wouldn't be an exhibition or a playful crossover match. It would be contested under official Queensberry rules, complete with licensed judges, regulation scoring, and all the standards a true pro bout. If the deal comes together, both fighters will be stepping into a high-risk, high-stakes contest. Rumors have also been circulating that the fight is being targeted for December, and those whispers have sent shockwaves across the boxing community. But Eddie Hearn, Joshua's longtime promoter, has stepped in to cool things down. He insists that nothing has been formally agreed upon, no paperwork has been signed, and a lot of what's spreading online is premature chatter. On the other hand, veteran combat sports journalist Ariel Helwani sees the situation differently. He points out that when a rumor gains as much momentum in the fight world, it usually signals that something real is developing behind closed doors. Helwani suggests a matchup could very well come to life, maybe by the end of this year or early next, even if Hearn is publicly cautious that I end short. While official confirmation is still missing, the growing noise suggests that a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown might be closer than anyone expected.
Joshua and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell Ring Magazine Paul steps up massively to fight the former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was canceled. Major props to Paul. So there you have it. In the midst of all this, I did reach out to Eddie Hearn, as did Gareth, and he said, "We have spoken, but nothing close, and I doubt he would be so crazy." He being Jake. I then asked him, "Would you say this report is premature?" He said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "Can I attribute this to you?" And he said, "Yes." And so what do we make of this, guys? Do we think there's smoke to this fire? PT, what do you think? You think this is something that could actually happen? This would be within the next month, right? This would be sometime between now and probably December 19th or so, in that time frame. What do you think?
I think it's a huge fight. You know, I didn't expect this at all. Usually when Jake is in a fight, the odds feel like they're stacked very much in his favor. This is the complete opposite of that. I'd very much agree with Gareth A. Davies' take, which was I'd expect Joshua to obliterate him in a boxing match. I mean, look what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou before that Dubois fight. Like, I mean, it was a completely different affair than the Tyson Fury fight. I think, having heard Eddie Hearn's update and having looked at that tweet again, it feels like boxing's equivalent to the old in the works reporting that we used to see in MMA an awful lot, right? Like when we weren't quite sure, maybe one side had verified that this fight is happening, but you can't get the other side to commit, and it's in the works. It's a huge fight. The one thing I will say is, why would you want that out there? Why would the Ring report this? Why would someone give them that information if it wasn't going to happen? Now, because everything else pales in comparison to this, as far as I'm concerned. Every other fight that they had perspective or potential, I don't think it's as big as Anthony Joshua. So I don't know.
This isn't a ring fight, right? This isn't a ring fight. Anthony Joshua is tied to DAZN. Anthony Joshua has a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh in Riyadh season. The Ring is owned.
MMA Fighting shared a post on X highlighting Leon Edwards' take on the growing buzz around a possible Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown. Edwards didn't hold back. He said that if Joshua doesn't put Jake away within the first round or two, then something feels off. His reaction points to the enormous difference in experience, technique, and raw power between the two. In Edwards' view, Joshua overpowering Jake isn't just expected, it's almost guaranteed. Anything less than a quick finish would raise eyebrows. Coming from a reigning UFC welterweight champion, his comment reinforces just how dangerous this matchup could be. It also shows how little confidence many fighters have in Jake Paul's ability to survive the kind of firepower Joshua brings into the ring.
If you've seen this fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, as a Brit, how do you evaluate?
I've just seen that. Someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if Asia doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going to Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it, you know?
It's going to be next month they're working towards.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
Cheers.
Francis Ngannou, the former MMA heavyweight champion who transitioned into boxing, once stepped into the ring with Anthony Joshua and was knocked out in devastating fashion. That moment reminded the entire combat sports world that Joshua's punching power is not hype and that his mastery at heavyweight is very real. Jake Paul had previously entertained the idea of fighting in Nanyue, which on its own was a risky proposition considering Francis' violent reputation. But now the spotlight has shifted to Joshua, a fighter who not only stopped in Nanyue, but has consistently shown that his combination of size, speed, and technical ability makes him one of the most dangerous heavyweights alive, I.N. short. Jake is now pursuing a man who dismantled someone as formidable as in Nanyue, a decision loaded with massive reward, but even greater danger. Earlier in the rumor cycle, the matchup being floated was Jake Paul versus Francis in Nanyue, but Francis quickly shut that down, calling the proposal disrespectful and insisting he wouldn't spend his time on what he viewed as a crossover influencer matchup.
With Jake and everything's wrong with Francis, he can go with Francis. So now all of a sudden you start satisfying both ends of this. Okay. So when that falls through, the rumor is that Francis and Jake are still in talks. Even though Francis did not come through on the event he was offered and the date he was offered, MVP and Netflix may be willing to reschedule everything and still make him part of it. And Francis' big statement was just, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's not what I'm looking for. Doesn't make sense. Okay. That's not my business. I can't be mad at Francis for that. That just cost Francis a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That just cost Francis life-changing money. I can't be mad. If I'm mad at Francis, then I got my way. He cut off his nose to spite his face. I can't be mad at him. He's already been punished. What good does it do me to be mad at him? All right. Well, then you bring in Joshua, and Joshua shows you how it's done. Right? Joshua and Francis are not remarkably comparable. I mean, not only did they box, they're not remarkably comparable, but in the world of boxing and just the accomplishments. I mean, you take Joshua Benson, Olympic finalist, for goodness sakes, right? Just like lifelong, very well known. Multiple generations of boxing ties. You know, go all the way back to Klitschko. Go all the way back. You couldn't go before Klitschko was there first, but you go all the way back to Klitschko. Anything that has ever happened in the sport of boxing since you can tie Joshua to. And he's a professional, and above everything else, he's a real boxer. So if he is to say something makes sense, then it makes sense. Right? If you have Joshua's opinion of does this make sense to... Now, none of us know what sense means. We don't even know if he's spelling it with an S or a C. None of us can define or tell you what this means. It makes such little sense that Francis can't even tell you why it doesn't make sense. But again, I can't be mad at Francis. He already pissed down his own leg. So, but if you could have Francis's opinion of what in the world of boxing or combat or money or business or sport makes sense, like Francis's level of success is not remarkably...
Simon Jordan, well-known UK boxing analyst and former football club owner, didn't sugarcoat his opinion. To him, the idea of Anthony Joshua fighting Jake Paul is outright absurd. Jordan admits the financial draw would be enormous, but he insists that the matchup has nothing to do with real competition and everything to do with spectacle. He stresses that Joshua is a two-time heavyweight world champion who has battled elite opponents and carved out a genuine legacy. Jake Paul, in Jordan's eyes, is nowhere close to that tier. Jordan argues that a fight like this wouldn't add anything meaningful to Joshua's career, but would put Jake at serious risk and cheapen what heavyweight boxing represents.
Between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul in December. What does it tell us, Simon? Does it tell us more, as I said in the introduction, about the falling star of AJ or the rising one of Jake Paul?
It tells you that there's a huge opportunity for enormous amounts of money to be generated around a fight that really has no integrity behind it in terms of as a fight, but in terms as a media spectacle and entertainment opportunity. You've got a very talented YouTuber that's built himself into a massive influence with huge following, and you've got a former two-time champion of the world that operates at a very high level of engagement. Whether he's a high level of performer anymore is a different discussion. So it becomes about how much can this fight generate? How many eyes on the prize? I mean, I spoke to his very close friend, Michael Jarman, about this very fight about 3 or 4 months ago, and he was like, what do you think? I said, what difference does it make? Oh, it would potentially jeopardise his legacy. His legacy's sealed. You cannot undo the fact. Whatever you think of Anthony Joshua,
It might damage it.
I don't think so. What it will do is increase his bank balance. But I don't think. I think in the great. I mean, it didn't damage Muhammad Ali's reputation to go in with a sumo wrestler, did it?
No, but after when Joshua was at his peak, Simon, if I had said to you there and then, do you know what? Maybe in December 2025, Anthony Joshua will fight a YouTuber.
This is the entertainment business. And Anthony Joshua is an entertainer, and you can't undo the fact that he won the World Heavyweight Championship twice, and he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment, and if an opportunity is presented to him, and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night
because I know
many people.
Tony Bellew, the former WBC cruiserweight champion turned boxing analyst, made his stance unmistakably clear. He flat out rejected the idea of the fight, saying he won't take any of these rumors seriously unless the two men physically walk into the ring together. Bellew stressed that boxing is a disciplined sport built on safety structures and competitive integrity, not a circus where wildly uneven matchups are thrown together for views and quick cash. He pointed out that size matters, experience matters, heavyweight power matters, and Jake Paul hasn't developed the necessary foundation to share a ring with someone like Anthony Joshua, in Bellew's view. If negotiations ever get close, promoters and sanctioning bodies have a responsibility to prioritize the safety of the less seasoned fighter, in this case Jake, rather than put him in unnecessary danger. Across the boxing landscape, from podcasts to major media outlets, countless analysts have echoed the same warnings. They highlight the enormous gulf between the two, the difference in power, skill, ring intelligence, and pure physical presence. Many believe Jake may genuinely think he has a chance, but they argue he fails to understand the reality. Joshua carries fight-ending power, controls distance with ease, dictates the tempo, and has lived in the unforgiving world of heavyweight boxing for his entire adult life. The overwhelming consensus? If Jake Paul truly believes he can take Joshua's punches and make it to the rounds, he's fooling himself.
And unless somebody wants to kill Jake, does someone want to kill Jake Paul?
The move is bizarre, and I can't help but feel like this calculated gamble is going to go horrendously wrong.
Whoa.
I think there's something there about maybe the way Americans say Anthony Joshua. I've seen it because he's not the only American. Like, there's retired boxers been calling AJ out from over there. Like, I don't think that they realize, because of what AJ was like when he performed in America against Andy Ruiz, and just generally since then, you know, he's lost a couple. I think they massively underestimate him, and I also think part of it is just Jake Paul thinking, what's the biggest fucking name I can do? What's the biggest event? What's one that I actually, delusionally in my opinion, think that he's got a chance of just landing a big shot on him, and he just doesn't rate AJ's chin. And it's like, yeah, but like Daniel Dubois, it's not the same, is it? What does this do to Anthony Joshua's legacy just by even taking this fight? Lawrence, you've known him for a lot of years.
To be honest, that's who I'm focused on. I don't really care about Jake Paul. I'm just thinking, you know, AJ needs to get himself back on track after that devastating defeat to Daniel Dubois. Why is he concentrating on Jake Paul? Like, he doesn't need him on his radar. He needs to be focusing on real fighters. And in terms of legacy, I mean, yeah, he's an active fighter. When your career's done, finished, have those type of fun fights. But right now, it makes zero sense to me. So it's just frustrating for me, to be totally honest. I don't get it.
Making though, Loza, because you think he's still he's semi-retired. This is the movement of someone that is on his way out of the game, and you can't turn down that type of money, especially on the night's work that it's going to be. This is like he's already got generational wealth, but you can imagine how big this is going to be. And it's
Netflix, guys. Netflix.
It's massive. Like, so that even I remember Eddie Hearn talking about it, and it seemed like he really wanted that fight, and it's really gutted.
If, against widespread advice, a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul moves forward, analysts insist it must include strict protective measures. Suggestions range from heavier gloves, round limits, and weight-specific rules, to even headgear or performance handicap for Joshua. After all, Joshua outweighs Jake by nearly 20 kilograms and carries far greater punching power. By any simple matchmaking logic, This is a dangerous mismatch without some form of adjustment. Safety measures would need to be significant to reduce Jake's risk. But even with precautions, the threat remains extremely high. No boxing contest is ever completely safe. But in this case, insiders warn that the danger is unusually pronounced. Many believe the most responsible approach is to postpone the fight until Jake gains more experience, and until Joshua has a reason to step into the ring that goes beyond spectacle and money.
An exhibition with Tank to actually fighting Anthony Joshua, depending on the terms, because here's the thing, Jake Paul started boxing late, so Joshua, to me, this would be a very dangerous fight. So I do got to look at the terms, meaning, are they going 3-minute rounds? Is it a 6-rounder? Is it a 10-rounder? Is it a 12 championship round they're going to make up a belt? Like, what are the terms for this fight? Because Joshua is 6'6", brolic, an Olympic gold medalist. So that's biting off a lot. So for me, I got to first see the fight actually come into fruition, not just like, reports, because Ring has previously reported Virgil Ortiz and Jerron Boots Ennis verbally agreed and the deal is expected to be signed. And it gets clicks and people get hyped up, people get excited.
That wraps up today's deep dive. Make sure to stay tuned. The story is far from over.